Welcome to this episode of MATC Now. I'm James Charles, and today we'll dive into the interesting world of television production at TMJ4, as well as learn about the Nail Technician program with my co-host, Equan Burrows. We'll also see what Chef Ailin is cooking for us in the kitchen. All this and more coming up on MATC Now. Welcome to this week's episode of MATC Now. I'm your host, James Charles, and today I'm joined by Equan Burrows, the Dean of Student Experience. How are you today, Dean Burrows?
Absolutely amazing.
Now, tell us briefly what you do for us here on the campus.
Oh, man. Well, I have a few responsibilities on campus. I supervise our student resource centers, our counseling and psychological services departments, student life, our athletics programs, all 9 of our sports, bookstores, childcare, and our food service facilities.
That's one busy role over there. That's great to hear. We'll catch up with you in a bit, sir, but for now, let's check in with field correspondent Leslie Garcia, and she's going to show us what the music occupations program has here on campus.
Thanks, James. Today we're exploring the music occupations program where students learn about the fundamentals of music, reading, ear training, and so much more. So make sure to tune in because I have so much more to show you.
Well, can't wait to hear more about that later. But for now, let's take a look at what student producers Ivan Aguila-Garcia and Torian Smith discovered while spending time with the Friends of County Grounds Park. Let's also get an insight on television production with student producer Mariah Smith.
In Wauwatosa, the community came together as Friends of County Grounds Park, formed after an important 2019 decision. The city rezoned 58 acres, including the valued Sanctuary Woods, into conservation status, shaping a new story within the existing 55-acre County Grounds Park.
We're doing our tree planting project today because we're actually adjacent to about 60 acres of older growth forest right here in surrounded by Wauwatosa. So there are trees in this forest that are 300 years old, but they are being threatened by all kinds of encroachment, including the fact that prairies end up spreading out and things like that. So we're trying to give this forest a buffer. We're trying to actually plant more native trees in this area so that even this older growth forest that's in here can be able to thrive without being pressed in by all the prairie and other impacts.
In 2019, volunteers worked hard in 3 events to remove buckthorn, a harmful plant threatening the historic forest at County Grounds Park. They aimed to bring back balance to the ecosystem and secure its future.
This year, I talked with the people who had organized it, and we talked about the possibility of trying another system. And so we are using wire fencing this year. And the reason that we're doing that is it's something that is durable. We can use it for many years, and it's also recyclable.
Beyond being a nature escape, the park holds the history of a former behavioral health care place with farms, woods, and gardens.
The woods was a recreation for the disturbed people, and I think the woods served that purpose. You know, it was fresh air, and still today. And in fact, it's a proven medical fact these days that the fresh air and the trees and nature is good for healing.
Often they start by just coming and learning about the park. And we actually do dozens of tours every year. Some on park history, some on the hydrology of the park, some on the mammals, some on the kinds of trees that we have in the park, some on butterflies. We have had a coyote tour. We actually have 2 cemeteries in the park. We hold cemetery tours as well. And so people learn about the park and really feel a strong affinity for it.
County Grounds Park isn't just a place, it's where nature and history come together. The sounds of the past mixed with the gentle breeze and the hum of the wildlife. Whether you love its history, diverse nature, or just want peace, County Grounds Park is open for all.
Every college student has a story. This one is Shamaria Hertz. Shamaria is an MATC TV and video production alumni student who's now bringing you the news on Channel 4 at noon. Shamaria sat down to talk about her favorite parts about MATC and what happened after graduating.
I went to MATC for television and video production. My favorite part about being there was just how hands-on the instructors are there. For instance, Kevin, love him to death. I always say that he got me to where I am today because he's just, like I said, so hands-on and like he's tough as well. So like that also helped me prepare for like the real world and like this news station because like everyone's not gonna be nice to you. But yeah, I'm just glad that they taught me like how to be a professional in the real world.
For a lot of us, college can be a stressful time, but in those times, we become better and the memories become part of our success.
There were a lot of struggles for me when I went to MATC because, you know, it was like everything was new to me. I didn't know like how to comprehend or like do anything. And like to me, I cry a lot. So I cried all the time at MATC, but I'm glad that I did because I feel like it shaped me into the person I am now. Like at MATC, I was this shy person. I didn't like want to talk to anybody, and now I'm just like speaking my mind.
After college, Shamaria worked for the Milwaukee Brewers, and shortly after started working at TMJ4 as a noon producer.
So after MATC, I was an intern with the Milwaukee Brewers for their scoreboard thing. I'm still working there, just not an intern, but they hired me like as a seasonal employee. So I did that. I did editing and graphics for them. And then I came here shortly after. What I love about TMJ4 is that everyone here is so helpful. If you need help, just let it be known. You have like 5 people rushing to your desk asking, what do you need? Do you need this? Do you need me to jump in? Do you need that? There's also like, everyone's here is so understanding. It's like a young environment here too. There's a mix, of course, but mostly young people, and I just feel like I'm heard and seen here. So I come in at 5 in the morning. I plug in my laptop and everything. I first check my emails, see if I'm missing anything that happened overnight. I talk to my EP and my other producers that are like morning producers, see what the big stories of the day are. After that, I start stacking my rundown and everything with like the stories that I think are important and what are big. I always try to lead with what I think the big story of the day is. So after that, I stack my show, talk to my anchors to see if they like how the show is produced. If not, make some changes, ask for ideas, bounce ideas off of each other. And then before I know it, it's showtime. I go into the booth and I put it on air.
Very amazing work. Now let's go back and see what our field correspondent Leslie Garcia can tell us about the Music Occupations program here at MATC.
Thank you, James. As I mentioned, I'm here in one of the classrooms at the Music Occupations program, and with me is Peyton Luke, who is a current student in the program. Hi, Peyton. How are you today?
Doing great.
Good. And so, can you tell us about the room we're in right now?
Totally. So this is the practice and ensemble room.
Okay. And what do students do here?
So we practice for concerts that are held at the end.
Okay. And what kind of classes do you guys have here in the program?
So besides ensemble class, we actually have a songwriting class, and we also have organ and vocal lessons here.
Oh, wow. Can you tell us a bit more about the songwriting class?
Yes, totally. So
Well, we'll check back in with Leslie later. That sounds like a wonderful program to be a part of here at MATC. Speaking of wonderful programs, let's watch as student producers Ailin, Perez, and Sage Todd show us around the nail technician program.
Program of the week, we are here at the MATC in Mequon, where the students in the Nail Technician Certification Program study to be professionals in a competitive industry.
I learned to meet other students and we became peers, but I also got the experience of actual salon.
The students in this program aren't just taught the industry terminology and standards, they also learn how to express their creativity as students and as inspiring professionals.
My name is Davina. I am a student here at the MATC Mequon campus in the nail technician program. I gained a lot of state board experience. Honestly, state board is like one of the most important things being a nail tech, at least in Wisconsin, since we have to be licensed to legally work in a salon, and the program definitely prepares you to take the state board test. So that's one thing I'm definitely grateful for. The process of becoming certified in the state of Wisconsin, you have to be at least 18 years or older. You have to be graduated from high school or have your GED. You have to go to accredited college and work at least 300 hours. From there, you can apply to take the state board test. Once you pass the state board test, then you will be eligible to get licensed.
The learning curve for this program is when we first started, you're kind of given book work and kind of stuff. If you're not really familiar, a lot of the terms and terminology they may use, you got to kind of gain all that experience in knowing what you're learning. The learning curve is once you learn all that stuff, they're throwing in client services at you, to be able to utilize what you have learned. And it's definitely a shift into the program.
I think being a nail tech, the best thing you can gain is experience. And for me, that's just like talking with the other girls in class, talking with the professors who's been in the nail industry for 20 plus years, like building those connections with them and just experiencing everything with them has really helped me a lot to be a better nail tech.
Nail technicians get the satisfaction of pleasing their customers, learning new designs. There's so much out there.
For me, the hardest style would be the nail art. Honestly, when I first started doing nails, it was like all about acrylic, make sure your acrylic is laid. Once I got my acrylic laid, kind of when I started getting into school, I figured out, I have to learn nail art too. And then once nail art became a thing, it was like, okay, I have to take a step back, start from the beginning and like kind of relearn everything. And I think it's kind of kept me humble too.
The hardest style for a nail technician to create is, me personally, the resin system. I'm kind of familiar with how to do the acrylic now and the dip powder. Those are my personal preferences, but the resin system, it is sticky. It's kind of, it takes a lot of practice to get used to building a resin nail.
Through a strong determination to be better in life, these students express the dedication by showing up every day, ready to learn the ins and outs of their future profession. Demonstrating professionalism, MATC believes to be the key towards any and all students' success.
My advice is to start off and establish a salon, but I want them to be as successful as possible, do what they feel comfortable doing, and reach for the stars.
MATC values their students' career path and success. The Nail Technician program is available in the downtown Milwaukee and Mequon campus. You can set up an appointment with the skilled students at Onyx Nail Studios at MATC, available on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m.
I tell you, I never knew MATC had such an artistic program. I'll have to take a look at that sometime. But for now, let's go back to our field correspondent, Leslie. Leslie, you're still playing our favorite tunes down there at the musical program?
So sorry, but we're back and I'm still here with Peyton. So, we were talking about like the songwriting class, right?
Yes.
So can you tell me a bit more about that?
Sure. So I've gotten a lot better at writing songs through that class.
Okay.
And
Back to Leslie a bit later here in the program. For now, we're talking about arts today, and today we have our special guest, Alec Burke. Welcome, Alec.
Hello, happy to be here.
All right, great. We want to talk about arts and specifically the music program. And now I know you're already an accomplished musician, and Dean Burrows will talk to you a bit more about that. But for now, tell us about the music program. What can students learn about the music business while they're here?
Yeah, so the music occupations program, our goal is to make sure that students are prepared for the real world. We do have an audio program as well as the music occupations, which is more performer-minded, self-producer, getting students prepared to be making their art out in the real world. And then if you're on the recording side of things, you want to produce somebody else's album, make beats, those kind of things, we'll get you prepared for that as well.
Hey, Alec, I have the next question. As a musician myself, I always wonder, how did you get your start?
So, so I actually started playing piano when I was 7 years old. My parents both did music when they were in school, and so they thought it was important get their kid involved early, teach them about self-motivation, problem solving, being organized. So I started when I was 7. I didn't like playing piano when I was 7 years old, but I did that for a few years. And then band came along. I joined band, and my teachers helped us get set up with an instrument. We had school instruments that they were able to loan out, and so that's where I got my start on trumpet.
Cool.
Excellent. Now, not everybody that can do something can teach another person. How did you get your start in teaching music?
So I had always been involved in some sort of mentorship capacity through high school. My mother was a daycare provider, and so I would help her with her students and her kids that were at her daycare. I also was a team supervisor for my dad's landscape company, so like those were the sorts of things that got me interested in teaching, working with people more. And I had 2 younger brothers, so my parents would want me to show them the ropes about this, that, or the other. But it was when I got to college and I started experiencing different parts of the arts and collaborating with other people that I was like, I want to be able to share this with others and take my knowledge and my experience and help others find their passion.
Let's say I was one of your students. What type of work are we doing when it comes to teaching in that regard?
Yeah, so in terms of how I work with my students, I work with students of all ages. Here at MATC, I might get a student that has very little experience on trumpet. They might have an introductory level of experience, and at that level, it's fundamentals, the groundworks of what makes a good, solid musician, gain a characteristic, healthy sound, especially as a brass player, because so much of our instrument is physical. So a healthy foundation in playing the instrument and music is where I like to start. And then at those higher levels, it's being well-rounded. You have to be adaptable. You can't just be, a jazz player, a classical player, an orchestra player. You have to be able to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, awesome.
Now, someone's sitting out there right now saying, I know how to play an instrument, but what can students learn here about the music business, life beyond the gig?
Yeah, so learning about the life beyond the gig, a lot of it's, time management, it's self-motivation, it's getting together with clients, it's having a good working relationship, not just with your colleagues, but the band leader or the booker, whoever it is, it's those interpersonal skills, as well as just like having a little taste of all these different aspects of what it means to be in the music business. Maybe it's the technical side of recording, maybe it's structuring your own practice routine, how to book people for a band, all those sorts of things.
Now, quick follow-up question to that. What are some challenges one might have to learning while they're here at MATC? You've mentioned people come from all walks of life, many ages. What are other challenges one might experience here?
So I find that something that can be challenging when I'm working with students is sometimes I'll get like a band or I'll get a group of kids that don't all play at the exact same ability level. And I think as teachers, it's our role to facilitate learning that includes everybody in the classroom, everybody in that band. And that might be modifying parts, that might be adjusting, a part of a song so that that student can still participate at a high musical level, even if they're not at a high technical level. And that's my job to do that and help the students learn how to scaffold to those next steps of technical proficiency.
All right, sounds like you try to break people out of their comfort zone, try to get them mixed in different genres. It's a great program for everyone that I'm hearing about, and I'm glad we're here talking about it today. For now, Leslie is still out there playing the piano and talking to other musicians. We're going to throw it back to Leslie, our field correspondent. Leslie, what's going on out there?
So sorry for the technical difficulties. It seems to be a big problem, but we're still here, and we're here in the auditorium. Peyton, can you tell us more about this auditorium right here?
Yeah, totally. So this is where our ensemble classes come to play. We actually have the drum line here.
Okay.
That I play, and I play snare drum.
Oh, cool. And so what kind of events do you guys have in this auditorium?
So I started hosting open mics last semester, and they were here and open to the public to watch, and students played at them.
Oh, so what is open mic?
So open mic is basically, it's a chance for students to play and bring any instruments or songs that they want and play them.
And is it just students who are allowed to come to the open mics, or do you guys have other people outside the program coming in?
Last semester it was students only, but I want to make it open to anybody now.
Okay, cool. So besides this wonderful auditorium, is there any other room you guys practice?
Yes, we do actually practice in the studio on the first floor in the M building.
Okay, cool. And so what has been your favorite part being part of the program here?
My favorite part would probably have to be just playing with my friends and what comes out actually of like playing music with them.
Of course. And where do you see yourself after this program?
Oh, I want to be a music producer and composer.
And do you think this program has helped benefited you and others in this program?
Definitely.
Okay, cool. So what kind of student do you recommend for this program, would you say?
Sorry?
Like, what kind of student would you recommend for this program? Like, people who are already into music or people just discovering music?
I would say both.
Really?
Because it helps anybody who's just starting it, but also helps people that want to continue it and make it their full-time career as well. So it's an open for people who want to learn and people who already know a lot.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Totally.
Amazing room, and I think everyone should check it out. And thank you to your awesome friends for playing some cool music in the background.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Anyways.
Hey, thanks, Leslie. Alec, that sounds like a great program all around this campus here. I want to thank you again for being here today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Meanwhile, I smell something good here in our kitchen next door. Chef Ailin seems to be prepping some delicious food. Let's go take a look.
Thanks, guys. Last week we made a delicious healthy salad. To piggyback on that, we're going to show you another healthy meal, a chicken salad wrap. For the ingredients, you're going to need a large tortilla, microwavable chicken tenders, fresh lettuce, and shredded cheese. To prepare this meal, you're going to need a microwave or an air fryer. For better taste, I would recommend the air fryer, but today, just for convenience and a quick meal, we're just going to use a microwave. Lastly, you're going to need a plate, obviously, to put your chicken tenders on. First, we're going to grab 3 chicken tendies, which I already have displayed right here, and we're going to put them in the microwave for about 60 seconds. While that's cooking, we're going to grab our tortilla, and it feels better when you slap it, so there we go. We're going to grab our lettuce and cheese. Now, normally you can grab any other toppings, ingredients, such as tomatoes, avocado. You can also do some ranch dressing, some mayo. You can, if you like spicy, you can also add like some chipotle peppers or just bell peppers. I'm gonna lay out the lettuce like this, all around the wrap, and we're only gonna do a thin layer of lettuce and cheese because we're gonna add the chicken on it. You're just gonna evenly distribute it. You can use any cheese you like. I have a Mexican blend. It just has a lot of different cheeses, and I like flavor. There you go. Just sprinkle it around like that. That looks like really cute. So, our chicken tenders are done. You're gonna grab them. They're steaming, so you're gonna want to let them chill for a little bit. You're gonna move this forward. We're gonna grab a chicken tender, and it's kind of hot, so if you do let them cool, that's fine. If you don't, we're just gonna go ahead and start cutting them. Now, I'm not making full cuts because I want them to be open like this. We're gonna grab another one, do the exact same thing. Now I'm gonna put them farther down over here towards pick a certain end of the tortilla so you can place the chicken tenders on, because that will make our wrapping so much smoother. There you go. Now we're gonna grab a little bit more cheese. Spread it on top. I like cheese, so I'm gonna add extra cheese. A little bit more of lettuce. And now we're gonna grab the sides, fold them inwards, and just nicely grab them. And you're gonna want to grab and roll as you go, because your toppings are gonna want to fly away, and you want every single bite. Look at that. You got a chunky little roll. Then we're gonna grab our plate, place it on there, and you're gonna cut diagonally because it's aesthetically pleasing. There you go. You have a delicious snack wrap, and you're done. Now you have a healthy meal to savor. After all that hard work, you got something delicious to show for it indeed. And you can finally sit back, relax, and enjoy it. Back to you guys in the studio.
Wow, what an easy and healthy snack to make quickly. Now let's join James Charles for the MATC Minute and see what events are soon to happen.
Want to finish your semester strong? Enjoy a coffee break with your C-Building retention coaches. The C-Building Coach Coffee Clutch allows students to take a break and gather important study tips to increase your academic success with your Gen Ed and Create retention coaches. This will take place on Tuesday, November 21st from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. outside of C204 at the downtown campus. MATC is improving the class registration process to serve students better. To reduce slowdowns and outages that have affected our systems, students will now register by their academic and career pathway. Students in a degree, diploma, or certificate program and taking classes this semester will continue to have an earlier opportunity to register. Your home base for updates and links is matc.edu/register. Ready for the holidays? November 23rd through 26th, all MATC campuses will be closed for the Thanksgiving break. Go out and visit your family to enjoy a delicious meal and take a long-needed break so you can come back and finish this semester strong.
Thank you, James. Here at MPBS, we have a variety of staff members who are willing to help our TV students. Let's see what insight student producer Ethan Ramirez has for us.
MATC has many video editors, and today we dive into the work of a very talented member.
I work full-time at Milwaukee PBS as an editor/engineer, and I also work part-time for Milwaukee Area Technical College as an instructor. I began working full-time in November of 2014, and then I started teaching part-time in 2015 in the fall.
Hi, I'm Tracy Newman along with Brian Eway.
Plus, we'll spend some time with the Milwaukee Admirals next My Wisconsin Backyard. To introduce you to the MSOE Unicycling Club.
I went to UW-La Crosse and I started there as a psychology major. I happened to walk by what was called Wing Communications building, and I saw that they had a television station. I thought, wow, that looks really interesting. So I stopped and talked to the dean, and lo and behold, I signed up and changed my major, and here I am.
Pretty interesting how one glance at editing can change one's plan in learning. It's also nice to have knowledge in engineering and knowing some of the equipment that she'll be working with.
We have the ability to go out into communities that might not often get to see a horse. Whether you like the police or not, you're going to like my horse. So it bridges that gap between.
And we'll take you inside the recently reopened Yerkes Observatory.
It was rerouted by mile-thick ice sheets of the Wisconsin glaciation. Species.
My favorite parts about this profession are being able to make a difference in the lives of others. I do that as a journalist working for Milwaukee PBS, and I also do it as an instructor working for MATC. People often ask me what's my favorite story that I've done over the years, and I really can't answer because there's been so many great ones. And as far as the teaching, seeing my students get ahead and getting jobs in this field has been really rewarding for me. My words of inspiration to students or to anybody in this business is just learn all you can because you just never know when you're going to use those skills later on. I started out thinking I would do one thing in this business, and I've done most everything. So learn what you can.
That seems so interesting, a very rewarding career. Student producer Nolan Guiarte has another hidden gem KE for us. Let's go take a look.
Hey everyone, I'm student producer Nolan Guiarte, and here we are in the Forest Home Cemetery, and this is another hidden gem KE.
Yes, I know you might wonder, why from all the places possible in Milwaukee, a cemetery? Well, let me tell you, a cemetery is not only a place that offers the beauty of nature, but a place to honor those who are no longer with us. Also, it is a chance to learn more about the history of the people who have left their mark and legacy here. People with a rich biography background, just perfect to go within the history of the recognized people that had put their mark while here in Milwaukee.
Also, one of the many things that you might find here is the very own grave of Baron Kilmore, one of the many founding fathers of Milwaukee.
Byron died in Florida in 1870 and buried in Jacksonville. However, his remains were brought at the Forest Home Cemetery by Fred Matusinek in 1998.
This and so much more you can find out about Milwaukee. I'm student producer Nolan Guiarte, and this was another hidden gem KE. See you next time.
Well, that looks like a peaceful place to check out, but that's all the time we have for today's episode. Thank you once again to Equan Burrows for joining me today.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you to our viewers for tuning in now for MATC Now on our Season 8. I'm your host, James Charles. We'll see you next week. Great. Burrows,